I've been with AbbVie coming up on 4 years now, was brought in the People Insights team. And over the last 4 years, we've really evolved the way that we approach employee listening, people analytics, and really shifted more towards research and understanding. I think about this more as we used to be a lot of fun facts, what is turnover, what is engagement, and we've really taken it up to the next level of analytics and storytelling with a very heavy research and development organization. Right now, things just move so quickly. And I think we always hear that things are moving quickly, but it's never moved quicker, at least from what I can tell. So as we move quickly, it's how do we direct leaders in a way that they can make the greatest impacts on employee experience. I always think through we have to point them in the right direction, tell them what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, and then let them run, and giving them the ability to figure it out as they go, with also a little bit of guidance. But with how quickly we move, sometimes it's a little bit challenging to do that. We've really learned how important it is to listen. And I think sometimes people hear, but they don't listen. So giving leaders, giving employees the opportunity to take a deep breath and to talk about what this experience means to them. It's not just a check the box activity. It's engaging in those authentic conversations, giving employees and leaders both the grace to show up, to be their true authentic self, to be able to express their thoughts, their views, their opinions, and allows them to share their experiences with others. And that's really where the magic happens. As an organization, we've been around for just about 10 years. Our engagement is at highest levels that we've ever seen. Despite all of the headwinds that we have been getting, we have a lot of tailwinds that are propelling us in the right direction. So how do we maintain the momentum? I think through every year, right before year end, our CHRO gets up in front and says, okay, great year, foot stays on the gas. How do we maintain that constant drive towards what we're going after? How do we not take our foot off the gas? How do we keep it going? We're not applying the brakes. We're not in cruise control. It's figuring out how do we put our efforts, put our energies behind what truly matters to employees, which then translates to our patients. I think it's the same thing that they've always needed. They need great people leadership. They need inspiring leaders who really care about them. That's when people will show up at their best. Professionally, personally, if you have a leader that cares about you, if you have a team culture, and an organizational culture that gives off them the ability to be their true authentic self, that allows them to show up personally, professionally, and then allows them to excel. And we like that because then they excel and their performance goes up, but it's that sustained performance that we want to see. And we want to see people happy, healthy, high well-being, lower stress. And then our job as HR leaders or as leaders within an organization is to continue down that path. We have become more agile. And by being more agile, it doesn't mean that we're turning on, always listening. We really want that to happen between a manager and an employee. And so we provide those strategic touch points that enable those conversations. And as a data person, I'll be the first one to say, the data is not the end all be all. We use the data as a discussion starter. Here's what we're hearing overall. What does this mean to you? And to use those data points, those when we do our listening sessions, when we do surveys, as thought starters, as conversation starters. For us, Perceptics is a true partner, is that they bring that external expertise, they bring those external benchmarks of what other companies are doing, and then we partner with them to figure out what our best approach is internally. I send a lot of questions to my friends over on the Perceptic side, and it's, hey, I'm looking at the data this way. What are you guys seeing? How does this compare with other people? I call them my phone of friends. Is that I see something and then I say, hey, this looks like this to me. Can we validate that that's what it is? Is there another way that I should be looking at it? But it really is a partnership where we go back and forth a lot, having our ongoing meetings, and it further solidifies what that partnership looks like. We've been able to do a lot of really cool things. We know more about our employees now than we ever have while still maintaining that employee confidentiality. I've actually been aware of Perceptics for probably the last 10 years or so, going through a couple of different RFPs with different organizations. Perceptics always shows up really strong when compared with their peers. And a lot of that differentiation comes through their consulting, through their customizability, and their desire to work with the organizations to deliver the best product for that organization. Every time, the product is different, but the product is still has that strong foundation, that strong backbone that allows us to deliver those actionable insights to executives and to our leaders. One of the strengths of Perceptics is they really listen to the clients that they're partnering with. And no matter what company it is, they have a very strong product off the shelf, but then they can completely customize it to meet the needs of those individual organizations. Action planning looks different, reporting looks different, even the questions are different. But Perceptics is able to provide that external expertise, those external benchmarks. Marrying that up with our internal approach allows for a really strong product coming out on the back end that is completely customized to the organization that they're supporting. We are double-edged sword. We are we are blessed with a CEO and an executive leadership team that really, really cares. And so it's double-edged sword in that they really care about the results. But on the negative side, I get a lot of phone calls. One example of how we have used our approach is there was a meeting amongst like the top 50 or so leaders at AbbVie where they were doing enterprise level action planning. And so we get that strong commitment from our CEO, from our executive leadership team, plus their direct reports around from an enterprise, what are the consistent themes that we're seeing across all the different functions. We land our enterprise action planning, and then each of those leaders takes that awareness, that knowledge of what's being done at an enterprise level and tweaks it for their own function. Our employee survey approach, it's year round. It's every day. Even if we're not asking questions every day, we're acting on it every day. And we have the support of leaders who are still asking questions a year later. 2 years later, they'll ask me, what was your data from 3 years ago? And I'm like, oh, the data was so different then. Like 3 years ago, you can't compare it to them, but it's because they care. And they want to know, what have they done that works? What have they done that may not have seen the impact, so they can fine tune their approach going forward as well.